listening to the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing in Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing, but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Brit and I'm here today with Maggie Patterson, podcast host of the show Small Business Boss, a master level content marketer from Copyblogger, and the principal consultant at Scoop Studios. Maggie, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm really excited to be here, Brit, although I'm not wearing yoga pants, so hopefully I can still be on the show.
It's all good. I'm not either. I'm wearing shorts because, man, it is hot here where I'm at. So it's all good. Come as you are. That's the name of the game. So you're fine. So Maggie and I are just now connecting for the first time. I'm really pumped to get to chat with her today, get some insight into all the things she's got her hands in, her industry, her marketing strategy, and what makes it all tick. So Maggie, are you ready to jump in?
I'm so ready.
Okay, let's do this. So first of all, you've got to break it down for us. Tell us, how do you earn your living?
So I make money in two main ways. Number one is the content marketing agency, which I am the principal at, and I have a team that works with me there, Scoop Studios. And we work with small to mid-sized businesses on all things content marketing. So storytelling, website copy, blogging, podcasting. We make their content easy so that they can essentially be the talent, and we make them look good and help them grow their business in the process. And that's just one thing I do to make money. The other way I make money is through mentoring and masterminds through the Small Business Boss brand. And that's really evolved over the last year to 2 years as a really good, solid second revenue stream, and the work that really, really gets me excited because while I love content marketing, I love helping other business owners grow their business more than anything else in the world.
That's interesting. So are you yourself doing the content marketing for these clients? Do you have a team around you in Scoop Studios?
Yeah, so I have one full-time employee who actually is my sister, but everyone, please don't worry. She has a marketing background. I didn't just hire her unqualified. And clients, I was funny the other day, we were on a call with a client and all of a sudden we were on video and she looked at me and she looked at Sarah and she was like, oh, you're sisters.
Oh.
We don't conceal the fact, but sometimes it's funny when clients figure it out. I am involved in the day-to-day, so I really keep my hand in client work in terms of setting strategy and helping grow the agency, but I really rely on my team for a lot of the arms and legs execution because my best and highest use of my time is not writing blog posts en masse for clients.
That's super important to understand. And it sounds like you've hit somewhat of a sweet spot, at least in this phase of your business and your life, mentoring and masterminding. Can you give me some insight into how that works as it is right now? And then once we understand kind of what it looks like right now, we'll go back, we'll rewind the tapes, and we'll hear how you got here. So what does that mentoring and masterminding look like in Small Business Boss?
So right now I offer a year-long mastermind. I initially started running it off, interestingly, 4 months, and then I was like 8 months. And I was like, you know what, for 2018, we're going to do it for a full year. And there's 16 amazing female business owners in that. And we really work closely together, both one-on-one and then in a group setting for the course of the year, in-person retreats, really focusing on growing their service business. So if they work with clients, they're the perfect fit for that. And really people who have that established business, you need to be able to get to that next level. And then, I also do mentoring throughout the year, a handful of clients to fill in some of those gaps. And I have a lot of people asking me to mentor. So I'm like, I need to offer something besides the mastermind.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, wow, 16 people. That's a huge group that I bet is just so full and rich with perspectives and just goodness. So are you primarily working with service-based business owners? Does it kind of blend also with product-based? Who are your clients typically?
So really everything for Small Business Boss is designed for that service-based business owner. So I would say it's freelancers, creatives, and consultants. And, it's interesting. A lot of them, as they get further along in their journey, we talk about how they can diversify, add in digital products or physical products. But at the core of their business, how they really make money is that client relationship.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And same thing with Scoop Studios, or is it different over there?
Oh man, it is Scoop Studios. It's funny, people always talk about niching, and I'm like, we're niche in terms of the type of services we deliver, not the markets we serve. So we have a client who's an interior designer. We have one who's a real estate agent. We work for a small tech companies. We really work with a pretty wide variety of things. And I love that because for my team, the content never gets boring. They're learning a variety of things. One day they're writing about flooring. The next day they're writing about customer experience.
Yeah. And you know what? I've heard this from different sources when some people might think, well, but you don't know anything about those things. How can you write about them? But it's often a really great perspective to have because the business owner who knows all about flooring, they might try to sit down and write something basic that their client or their customer might need. And they're just totally unable to do it because they're in it. They're the expert. It's very difficult to go all the way back to like 101. But when you get a content writer in there who is truly at 101 and is learning as they write through it and they're just a couple of steps ahead of you, it's so much easier to understand and build that relationship. So brilliant. I think that's awesome. That's super cool. So I want to go back and understand, tell me the story. How did you come to do this with your life?
I'm one of those really annoying entrepreneur from a very young age. I started off at age 7 with a wagon thrill ride. It was shut down due to safety concerns within a few hours, but I made a couple bucks. And I mean, I was always that kid, like I always liked money. I was always trying to figure out how to make money. And that really stuck with me till I get the point I got in my professional career. And when I started out career-wise, I was working in a PR agency and it was very, very entrepreneurial. And I was there for 5 years. And I literally had the strategy in the back of my head is like, this is your entrepreneur training. This is what's going to teach you how to be your own boss. And I was blessed with amazing mentors who really, really encouraged me. They knew that's what I wanted to do. And at the time I decided to go out on my own, they were really supportive. And I really timed it with the life event of having a baby because I was like, I don't really want to commute and travel anymore. I think I'm going to stay home and try to give this business thing a shot. I mean, that baby is now just started 9th grade this week. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So I have my baby number 1, my son, and then I have baby number 2, my business. And, over the course of years, I spent 8-9 years freelancing. And then I was like, you know what, I'm kind of bored. I need to do something differently. And I really pivoted at that point into building a brand, building a personal brand. And since then, that personal brand has really evolved to the point of becoming Scoop Studios. And as I was running the agency, I noticed people kept asking me, oh, are you going to run a mastermind? Are you going to run mentoring? How do you get your clients? How do you, basically I want to know the nuts and bolts of how I ran my business. So I really saw an opportunity to break that into its own thing. And 2 years ago, I created the mastermind as a result because I wanted to be able to serve my peers and people who were a little bit further behind me in their journey in terms of like, how do you build a really successful business working with clients that's profitable, that allows you to have a life and hold your boundaries? So many of the things that people don't like about working with clients are entirely fixable. And I always say with a client-based business, your path to making money is so much faster because it's easier to sell one package to one client for $1,000 than to find 10 people to pay you $97.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Cool. So you're helping them do that. That's neat to hear how it evolved as you kind of transitioned and evolved your efforts into offering this mentoring and masterminding. Was there any resistance there? Take me into that. Was it an easy, I see this need, people are asking for it, I'm totally going to do that? Or was there resistance to it? What was that like for you?
Complete resistance for me. There was really kind of twofold. Number one is I was really struggling with the idea that I personally, I didn't want to be a coach. I'm not a coach. I am a consultant through and through. And it took a while to work through that. I can still offer this and be a mentor and a consultant and be very directive with my clients in the way I've always done on the agency side. And then the second part is, at the time, I was actually in a really amazing mastermind group with several of my peers, and they pushed me hard to do this. I remember we were sitting actually in Phoenix, Arizona, in this giant, awesome house, and they just kept looking at me. They're like, you have to do this. And they mapped it out for me and pushed me. They're like, you're going to launch this within the next 4 weeks. I was like, no. But you know what? I am really grateful that they pushed me, because I was able to have that proof of concept really quickly. And every year the mastermind grows bit by bit by bit. And it's become a very stable and, not to mention, enjoyable revenue stream.
Isn't it funny how those groups of people can really push you in the direction you need to go? That's cool. I've experienced that as well. As we're kind of back there and talking about the origin story, I mean, I know that it was a while ago, but can you take me into how you got the attention of your very first paying client and how you earned your first dollar? What did that look like for you?
Oh my gosh, I know the day it happened. It was May 13th.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool.
It was so exciting. But, I did the thing to get this client that many, many service business owners avoid doing. I let people know I was in business. So at the point I decided I was going to go out on my own and start freelancing, I literally sent a zillion emails to every single person I knew personally and professionally that I thought could help and that would be cheering me on. And my first client came from one of my college professors in my public relations program. He had someone come to him and said, hey, I need a PR person to do X, Y, and Z. And because I had taken the time to reconnect with him and fill him in on what I was doing, he was able to make that recommendation. And that led to my first client.
I hope everyone that's listening right now actually really took that in, because I think that is so easily skipped, especially in today's day and age of social media. And I totally understand that there is maybe, and I think it does, there tends to be that resistance toward being open and forward about the fact that you are now doing this thing toward people that actually know you in real life. And sometimes, and somehow it feels easier to start an Instagram account and a Facebook account and all those things. And when at the end of the day, when you really need to actually run a business and not just act like you're running a business, and you really need to bring money in, start with the people who are already in your circles. That's a huge, huge takeaway. So now I don't usually go here, but because this is really what you do, Maggie, if someone were to come to you right now, one of your clients or, someone in your mastermind, and would ask, okay, I'm starting this thing and I want to get my first paying client, what would you tell her to do?
Number one is work your personal network. So I would literally have them sit down for like 10 minutes and write out every person they possibly know. So past coworkers, past bosses, past academic contacts, past clients, really thinking deeply and strategically about who you already know that can speak to the quality of your work. Because even if they're not going to be your ideal client, they might know someone. They might be able to make an introduction or a referral. And, that is, after 13 plus years in business, still how I get many of my clients. I just signed a client that I worked with 20 years ago in her, she's been through many positions, but we literally just started with her this week. And it's because I have made a point of keeping in touch and staying top of mind with her. And that's nurturing those relationships and being okay with asking for help and kind of taking it what I call old school versus relying on someone finding you on Instagram, really liking you and hiring you. Go for the most direct thing, which is those referrals and introductions. And, kind of once you exhaust that, I always am like, get out from behind your computer screen. I get the online world is awesome, but guess what? We didn't have the internet. We still found clients. So it's possible without the magic of the internet to do it. I love the internet to help us along. And go meet people. Go to local networking groups. I live in a teeny, teeny, tiny town, but I'm involved in the women in business groups here, and that yields clients for me without a lot of effort. The effort is putting on pants.
Right? Amen. Yeah. I totally get that. And around here, we think about our personalities too. And if you happen to be one of those personalities that going out and networking is just so far away from your best marketing strategy, I think Maggie and I can both sit here and give you permission to not do that, right? But all of that to say, if it's close or if it is your best marketing strategy, girlfriend, go do that. That's going to give you that first really important step to bringing money in and being able to service a client. And when you service that client well, like I know you're going to, they're going to send you somebody else and you're going to actually have a business here. So that's a great, I think, a basic thing that people skip. So I'm glad we were able to camp out on that a little bit. So then take me into the first couple of years of your business. How did you see it? What do you think really allowed it to grow? How did you get that next growing book of business?
Yeah. So, I think it comes down to two things is number one, I didn't do what I think a lot of service providers do, which is we start to get busy in our business and we stop doing any networking. We stop letting people know we're open for business. We don't leave our house. We basically just do our client work and we never spend any time working kind of on the business. And I knew that, hey, you know what? Clients are cyclical. At the time I worked for a lot of startups. Startups get bought every day. So, and I'd been through that many times. So I knew that like, hey, if I have this client that's paying me $3,500 a month, I might not have them 2 months from now. So I think not taking my foot off the gas and remaining being seen within my circles, that really, really helped. And then I think the second part was making sure that I was giving my clients the time and attention and really making them feel like the most important client. Even though I had, 5 or 6 clients, I'm really taking a lot of care in how you service your clients and the experience they have. So, basic things can really stand out when you are in that service provider role. Meeting your deadlines, being proactive, having really clear communication. This is one I see a lot of people struggle with is if you don't have anything to update the client on, that's fine. Let them know that. Don't just hide out and expect they know because the second that client introduces that, what are they doing with that? That's when the doubt sets in. Your relationship is not on firm ground.
Yes. It's a relationship. It's just like having a friend or a spouse or anything, right? Anyone that you care about, you have to communicate with them for them to feel solid. Not only to stick around, but this person is paying you too, which brings in the whole topic of money, which we know is a touchy one, right? And so, yeah, great tip. I can kind of just feel some of the listeners getting that in the gut a little bit right now, like, ooh, yep, I'm the one that needs to hear this today. So yeah, take that in, girlfriend. Go do something about it. Keep those people in the know, even if it's not the answer that they're expecting. Keep them in the know. Stay in communication with them. I want to know how you're getting clients right now. But before I get there, when did you bring your full-time employee, your sister, into the mix? Was she there from the beginning? Did she come in at some certain time and why? Like, how did that all happen?
So I'm going to take you back in the journey. She joined us about 2 years ago. And up until this spring, I actually had a business partner in the agency, but she's since exited. So our team at the time was there, myself and my partner, and we had another full-time employee. And then we were just growing and growing. And I was like, you know what? I cannot continue to be, the sun, the moons, the stars for these clients. I can't create all this content. So she joined us about 2 years ago. And it's one of those things, hiring that full-time employee was really, it's a huge financial commitment and it's stressful because there is a cycle in business. So, your income isn't necessarily 100% stable month over month, but I honestly think we waited too long to do it, but I never doubt that it was the right decision. And I think whether it's your first hire or moving into a full-time hire, I think really spending some time figuring out what you want that role to be and how that's going to help you as the owner of the business really do the work you do best and focus on growing that business and creating not just the business you want, but the life you want. Because if you're working all the time, there's no point in your business. You're eventually going to end up burnt out.
Yeah, 100%. So you essentially co-founded the agency. Do you feel that having co-founder, your partner there, was that truly the right move for you, being the stage you were at in your life and starting a business? How did that work for you and the person that you are?
It was interesting because I think it was the right move at the right time to kind of transition me out of, I essentially had an agency, but under my Maggie Patterson brand. And it was a little bit awkward as we were growing and there was more people involved. And I think having her by my side really helped me elevate and pushed me into that next stage in business. And I think it was the right move at the right time. And here's the thing is I don't regret at all having a business partner. We had an amazing working relationship, but her exit was painful for me personally because she had decided she wanted to pursue some other things and we're still really good friends. I talked to her last night, but we kind of had a marriage going. So that was a little challenging. So I think one of the things I would say is if someone's considering a partner, really make sure you do your due diligence because our exit was very amicable because we had talked about every possibility you could ever imagine.
That's cool. Yeah. I like to hear how that works for different people. I can't say that I'm someone who's ever seen myself or wanted to have a partner. It's interesting to hear when someone has had a partner in their business and how that just kind of works and doesn't work and shifts and changes and makes you a better person and makes it harder, but also makes it easier. Just all those dynamics are super cool to kind of watch from afar. And I don't know, I get enamored by that. So interesting. Okay. So now, so many years later, your baby is going into 9th grade and you started your business when I think he was born. So what's working for you right now, being that it's been so many years to market your business and earn clients? What seems to be the thing right now?
Interestingly, the thing right now, aside from kind of those baseline, I still, referrals and introductions and networking, I still do all those things. But right now, oddly enough, LinkedIn, I've been really playing with LinkedIn more and more. And I've been able to kind of recapture and reactivate a lot of my professional contacts because they're really paying attention to what I'm doing because they're not on Facebook, they're not on Instagram, but these kind of people in these mid-level corporate clients that I love working with that have deep pockets, they're like, oh, Maggie's writing a lot about case studies on LinkedIn. Maybe we should talk to her agency about case studies. So, that has definitely been a huge win for 2018. I think something we've done right this year.
That's super smart. Based on the small little bit of information that I know about who you're working with and who you're trying to work with, LinkedIn seems like a cool fit. And it sounds like you're using really good content to attract those people in, which that's meta, right? Content works. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have to do what I tell my clients to do. So sometimes it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Isn't it always? Oh man, so many of us can relate to that. So let's talk about the work you're doing right now. Are you working on anything specific? Where's your focus at?
Right now, it's kind of two things is I have a big goal by the end of the year to boost the agency's ongoing monthly revenue because I love having those recurring revenue clients. I love that relationship because we're able to gel with the client and really we're able to get better results because we're working with them on an ongoing basis. So I love that as a goal and I'm really, really focused on that. So a lot of my focus this fall is going to be on that new business activity and looking at, setting ourselves up for 2019 financially. And then on the other side is I'm kind of exploring some new things on small business boss side of things, trying to decide, do I offer a VIP day? Do I offer a half day? Do I add things on when I do retreats so I can meet people in different cities? Really kind of trying to formulate what that next thing is for small business boss.
Cool. Yeah, it's getting to that time of the year, right? It's like,
Yep.
We're getting there. Yeah. I love that time and I dread that time, but I love it too. It's just all of the feels. So I'm interested to know what inspires you to keep going and continue building this business.
It's funny. I'm so inspired by my clients and seeing their success. So I had coffee with a client this morning and she's local to me and she's in our mastermind and she runs a psychology practice. So seeing the impact she has on our community and seeing that across all of my mastermind clients, just really seeing what they're able to do and that I have played a small role in helping these women accomplish their goals, like that is so gratifying, especially when I start to look at the data out there about, female business owners only earn 50% of what male business owners own and of what earn and all this. I really, it's so cheesy to say like empowering these women, but I love that. And I feel like at this stage in my career, at this stage in business, it is the perfect way for me to pay it forward.
That's awesome. Now I'm going to switch gears again. I'm interested to know, back on the content strategy sphere, which I know you know so much about. If someone is really trying to get their content strategy to work better for them, what resources would you suggest? Where would you point them?
So I think it depends on, you need to look at two things. Number one, is it a hard skill you need to acquire? So let's say you need a writing skill. Start looking at resources from things like Copyblogger. Read the book Everybody Writes by Anne Handley. Really figuring out what skills. Maybe you need video skills. So find someone who really specializes in that. I think one of the things we're like, I just need a plan. And it's like, well, what skills do you need to execute that plan? I think is part of it. Or do you need third-party assistance? And then the other part of it is not making it so complicated. I think a lot of times we want to cut to, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to build a blog. I'm going to build a platform. I'm going to do all these things. There's probably a lot of things you can do by working on other people's platform, being a podcast guest, being a guest teacher, guest posting, speaking, going where your audience already is versus trying to build that own platform and audience right out of the gate.
Great. Good advice. Okay, so one last question we have to end with. I would love for you to look back and tell us, what advice would you give to yourself when you were first starting your business? That girl on her couch, hunched over her MacBook, trying to figure all of this out. What would you say to her?
Oh, you got this. I think there's so many times along the way where I was just like, this is insane. And when you choose to run a business, for most of us, it's very unconventional to everyone else in our life. And, seek out that support and know that you can do this, even if the rest of the people around you are kind of raising their eyebrows at you.
Ooh, that's a good one, right? Sometimes if you're only following people that are building their businesses, on Instagram, on Facebook, if you're listening to those types of podcasts, and especially if you're working from home and you're just in that world all the time, sometimes you forget that vast majority of the rest of the world does not live their life like this. And therefore, you will probably hit some resistance. And that's okay, because you still got this. And that's really, really great advice. I'm so glad that you brought that to us. It's a good thing to remember. So before we go, could you please tell the listeners where they can find you online?
So the best place is you're a podcast listener. So find me over on the Small Business Boss podcast, which is wherever you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure it's there. Or you can head over to smallbusinessboss.co.
Perfect. Okay. You heard her, girls. Go check her out, send her some love, and then hop into our private Facebook group to hear even more from Maggie over the next few days. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketinganyogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests. Yeah, they're in there too. And all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketinganyogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing in Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now. And leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.